Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Art of Learning Self-Love in your Veda. Today's topic is day 8, and what that is our affirmation of the day. So if anybody needs to pick up a pen or paper and wants to write it down today, please do. If you have index cards, so if you're listening on the outside, don't know what you need today, you're going to need an index card, an ink pen, a piece of paper, something you can write on, or a notebook. Those are the items we always need in the Art of Learning Self-Love because I'm all about making sure we write out what we're doing. So today's affirmation is, when you're ready, let me know. Is everyone good? Thumbs up? Okay. I am so happy and grateful now that I understand that the plans for my life were made perfect through God, Source, and the universe's divine plan. Giving everyone just a moment to jump into that. And I want you to go ahead and reread it back to yourself so that
Say
you
it
can,
sorry. Will you repeat it one more time?
not a problem.
Thank you.
I am so happy and grateful now that I understand that the plans for my life were made perfect through God, Source, and the universe divine plan. So truly, ultimately, when it all comes down to it, we all look to something. We either call it God, we call it Jesus, we call it the saints, we call it our guides, we call it the universe, we call it Buddha, we call it a million different names. But it's all going up the chain and doing the same thing. It's all going to a source outside of ourselves, but it's really not outside of us. This is the point that's so important for us to learn. I cannot be separated from God. It doesn't matter whether or not I'm sitting in the church pew, if I'm sitting out by the lake, or whether or not I'm sitting in this chair right here. I cannot be separated from the source within. Can't. That is the only thing that keeps me upright and walking this planet. God is in each and every one of us deposited within so that we can function. And it happens the minute we are conceived, the minute we come to birthing, whichever part that it actually works. I know that we have conscious memory. If we think about it hard enough, we can actually tune ourselves in to find out what was happening in the womb. We can also follow that same energy back to the story of the foundations of creation when we were formatted and created in the beginning. So no matter where we're at in the timeline or how many times and cycles through, no matter what our story is and where we're at, we cannot be separated from that. That's the reason we exist. So when I finally realized that I was part of a divine plan and that I couldn't be separated from that, and that everything has precise timing, it changed the way I dealt with everything. And it taught me how to be grateful. So the reason why I am so happy and grateful now that, which was actually coined and originated, I believe, with Bob Proctor, He had started with a card, the gold card that he called it, and you carry it around in your pocket. And it starts with, I'm so happy and grateful now that, and you fill in whatever you're happy and grateful about that you want to create into effect. That was where that first part came from. But for me, what I was dealing with at the time when I first stumbled upon that was my relationship with God. I was in the pursuit of figuring my relationship out with God. So out of that, I came up with this affirmation. I'm so happy and grateful now that I understand the plans for my life were made perfect. They were already made. It was already perfect. My thoughts and my perceptions make it feel differently. My experiences made things different for me. So it changed the perspective that I was holding. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm in ruins or I'm broken. When someone came in and did something that hurt. Well, what happens when you're hurt? You might have broke a bone. When you're hurt, you might have stubbed a toe. You might have done something that was full of full on pain. But when somebody else comes and does that to us, what happens then? We react. We don't respond. It's a natural cause and effect. If I stub my toe, I'm going to scream. I don't care how good you are in life and holding yourself together, but if you stub your toe, you're going to belt out something. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. So when somebody else in your perfect little world is everything's all sunshine and rainbows and everything feels good, all of a sudden that bird comes along and shits on your shoulder, which is actually a blessing. You interpret it as it was a bad day because you got shot on by a bird. Life has its experiences. We all go through them. Sometimes they're not pleasant, but that doesn't mean it changes who we are at a core. Who we are is truly love. Every single person, whatever they're setting out to do, initially was created and conceived. That thought, or that individual, or that experience, or that project initially came from a place of passion, a place of love. Whether or not it follows through, finalizes, becomes the final detail, or actually works out the way we intended it to happen or intended it to work out is a whole nother story. No matter what we're creating, it all began out of the same space. So when we can come in and tune into that, we can realize that, yes, I may have been offended. Yes, I may have offended someone else. But when it comes down to it, it wasn't intentional. And it never is. And that's what generally the fight is all about. You're not hearing me. I'm not hearing you because I'm trying to tell mine and you're trying to tell yours. And we go round and round and round that same mulberry bush over and over until somebody finally gives way and accepts someone else's words. So I'm having a technical issue. I'm going to go ahead and close off my screen and you'll see my picture because I'm having problems with my computer. But I'm still here and still going to be teaching. Sorry, you got to look at my photograph instead of me. Um, we just take it and roll with it. Whatever happens, happens. So basically, when you think about, I'm so happy and grateful now that I understand the plans for my life were made perfect. So now, if everything was made perfect, but I'm experiencing uncomfortable situations, how does it feel so perfect now? It doesn't. So instead of going and fighting and becoming resistant to what's happening, I had to discover a skill and learned how to perfect that skill of learning to pay attention to what I'm learning. When I'm dealing with situations It's not always easy to climb in to the space of what am I learning? It's much easier to become reactive, like a shaken up soda bottle. When we pop the top on a soda can that's been completely shaken, we get a mess. And generally, when situations and circumstance happen, the same thing happens to us. We end up in a mess. So, how do we begin practicing the skill that it requires us to tune into ourselves so that we can control the way that we respond? Are we reacting or are we responding? This is the biggest question because anything in life has a cause and an effect. Everything. Doesn't matter what we're experiencing. There's always the cause and the effect. So how do I tune in, or how do we tune in to ourselves and actually control how we are responding? That's the only amount of control any of us really have. I have control to control me and my actions, my reactions, and what I'm going to say. I cannot control another person. I cannot control their thoughts. I cannot control their actions. And I cannot control how they are going to respond to the words that are coming from my mouth. They may hear the words and totally take it to an offensive place because their ears were only tuned in to what they comprehended. I may be speaking to someone from a level that they're not ready to receive at yet. So I have to remember that not everyone can receive everything I'm saying because everyone's on their own journey. Those who need those words, sometimes they do come as a lesson to them because they're learning how to control their own behaviors. And when I said something, it made them feel uncomfortable, which in turn caused them to be hateful or mad. And then they exploded and created a chaos because they didn't know how to control themselves. Or they heard my words and they weren't ready for a correction. And I wasn't meaning to correct, I was just stating words and it took an offense because they weren't ready to know that they needed to grow there. Or it could have been taken and completely accepted and received. And then both parties grew from the moment. But we never know where we're really coming from or how those words are going to land. So we have to find a way to be grateful for every one of our experiences, even when they're uncomfortable, because that's part of our life. And we're all worth living it to our very best. So this brings me to the next part of our session, which is about the assignment. The assignment of the day is, what is the most amazing thing you've had happen to you or that you have done for someone else? So I want you to take a second and reflect on both parts of that question. Something amazing that's happened to you or that you had the privilege to step in and do for someone else. Some people are givers, some people are receivers. So this is important because we need to identify, who are you? Are you a receiver or are you a giver? Because once you know this part about yourself, you'll know how to interact with other people. Because when you're the giver, you got to find those who need you so that they can receive. But if you're the receiver, you need to find those who are ready to give. And this position can change as you develop and grow. And it's always ever changing. So you need to figure out where you're at each time you come across this. So I want you to think about, are you the giver, the receiver, and what amazing things have happened to you or that you've done for someone else? So I'm going to go ahead and give the mic to Jane if you're ready. If not, it's okay.
Okay.
Um, you know, I have to tell you, I feel like I'm in a constant state of receiving. So, so that just naturally, I don't know. I feel like I give most of the time effortlessly. It really, because of it, it just kind of wells up. So I don't know. I don't know
Okay,
what I am. I'm both.
perfect. That means that
I mean, if I
you
have to choose, I
actually,
can.
that means that you've come into a balance with yourself. If you can give and receive at any given moment, you have found a balance.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
like,
that's about. It's about a give and take in life. It's about the give and the receive of life. The
mm-hmm.
what is it called? Arigato, I believe is what it's called. The
Oh,
ability to give and the ability to receive. So if I'm going into the grocery store and so say I only have a limited budget and I'm going to the
mm-hmm.
grocery store. Now I could sit and go, I gotta really count these pennies. This is all I've got. And I can feel that way because that's all I got in the bank. And that's acceptable for me to think that way. But if I go to the store and know that with that same $50 that I could buy one of anything in the store, when I show up in that parking lot and I think about going into that store, I have the opportunity that I could buy anything. So now that $50 is no longer limited. I could buy anything. And that feels good to know. Now, am I going to play the responsible role and go buy what I need to buy? Yes, because it's what I need to do. Now, so I'm going to care for myself and make the right decision and go buy what's necessary. But I'm going to know that if I really wanted to, I could have gone and splurged on whatever and I could have had a good time. So the whole while that I'm shopping, I'm going to imagine the fun things I could have bought instead. So now I'm creating the abundance for myself for it to come in. But it changes only based off of what I believe and what I receive and what I'm experiencing around me. That experience can be limited as my thought process can be. It could be so finite and, oh, I'm broke, I have nothing. Oh, what a horrible expression. I can't even say that anymore. And I used to say that all the time. That actually broke my heart saying it. I'm broke and have no, oh, no, I'm not. I'm an abundant, unlimited ability, manifesting ability creator. You know, I create a whole new world every day before breakfast. You know, so when I know who I am, it changes the dynamic of my outcome. The art of learning self love is not so much about learning how to love myself. It's about finding a new way to begin discovering how to give myself what I really need so that I can actually feel good every day. And if I can feel good every day, I can show up every day and give that same feel good to everyone else because I'm tuned in. But if I'm separated, stuck in my frustration, I can't. What's going to happen? We're going to dump everywhere we're going because we're overloaded and we can't carry it. And then it's happening and it's overflowing, and everyone has to experience our frustration. And that's not fair because everyone else is in a perfect, happy, healthy, loving space. And the last thing they want to do is go, oh, how come they can't be happy? Well, happiness begins within. Where does it begin? With our gratitude. How do we begin building our own happiness? Find the things that make us happy. Find the things that we're grateful for. It could be the wonderful hug that comes out of nowhere from our child. We needed so much at that present moment. It could have been that phone call that everyone got to connect real quick. And it was so full of delight because everyone was in a good mood. It could have been the next opportunity that we experience when we walk out the door. We don't know where it's going to come from, but we can continue to create it by thinking of the good things in our life. What am I so happy and grateful for today? I am so happy and grateful for assistance, opportunities, growth, development, source, abundance, increase, love, desires, and dedication. Just to name a few off the top of my head. So if I can be that grateful that quick, that came with practice. I can't expect to walk out the door, go to the next random person, go, what are 10 things you're grateful for? They're going to look at me and go, 10? I might be able to come up with one. I'm not very grateful right now. Because the world at large is too busy being consumed by all the different opportunities, everything else that's happening at every given moment. They're just tuned in, tapped into the resources that are available to them. And generally, that means that they're sitting in front of a television watching a lot of news broadcasts and a lot of other things and going, oh, that's all that's available to me now. And it might not always be the pretty story that we need to hear. I think every news channel at least should highlight at the top of the hour and at the end of the hour 2 positive things that have happened around the world. And if they would do that and share all the other, it might change the way people react. But what you're given, what is being fed to you, is what generally everyone receives. Not everyone is willing to step out of that comfort zone of what is given and actually find the answers that are within. And that's what I'm here to teach, how to tune in and find those answers within, not have to seek outside sources to begin getting it. To find yourself and your own answers, to know that you actually have the keys to yourself. Changes the dynamics now, doesn't it? Takes all of those closed doors and it makes you go, where's the keys? I'm ready to go open myself up. This is the part that nobody wants anybody to know. We are so sovereign. We govern ourselves. Yes, we have politics. We have this or that or whatever. I really don't get into any of it. Do I make my decisions every year because I have to? Yes, because I am an active, functioning participant in the world. But do I have to go and share it? Because I'm going to love everyone equally, regardless of whether or not you agree with my perspective or not. Because I'm here to help you find yours. And not everyone's going to agree on that. Major conversations that most people try to avoid: religion and politics. Those two are like taboo. PC police need to come in. Let's make sure everyone's politically correct. What is correct? What is wrong? What's the difference? One person's going to tell me one way's right, while the other person's going to tell me another way's right. Does anyone really know? Or are we all on a journey together to figure it out? That's why I do what I do. We're all here to figure it out together. If I don't know, I'm going to go help you find it. I'm going to help you go dig up the answers. But if I know something, I should be sharing it with another and giving them the life that they need instead of holding it going, oh, that's for me. No, life more abundant is for everyone. The abundance is birthright. So if I have knowledge that can help you get to abundance, I should be sharing it and giving it away and helping you get there. But at the same time, also making the money from the value of the content in which I can teach you. So there are parts that I give and there are parts that I charge. So finding out whether or not the art of learning self-love for you is right or wrong just coming in and taking a moment to check it out. So I want you to think about it, the assignment again, and find out for yourself what is the most amazing thing that's happened to you or that you've been able to do for someone else. Kat,
The little boy's being a little ornery right now.
boy.
I mean, I guess like to me. Hold on. Hold on.
Let Jane jump in.
Oh, you want me? Okay,
Yeah, give her a minute to let her, and then
sure.
see.
Uh, and you mean more of late? What has happened?
Anytime in your life, an amazing moment
Any-
that you did for someone else or someone else has done for you that made you just feel extraordinary.
Okay, so I can think of a time. Oh, let's see, many, many, many years ago when I was single and I was driving on a highway and I was very tired and there was a tractor trailer behind me and it's just following me. So it was just staying behind me the whole time. When I say follow me, it wasn't really following, but and it was kind of keeping me awake. And because it was in the middle of the night that I was driving. It was at 2:30 or 3 in the morning, and so when I got off my exit, I looked to the left and I saw that it was a truck that was owned by my late husband's very close friend, that his company that was supposed to be with him the night he died. And he wasn't, and it was not through anybody's fault. It was just, it just happened that way. And I was filled with such awe because I thanked the guy. Well, I assumed it was a guy, truck driver. And to see the name of my late husband's friend, his truck, his company that he owns, on the side of that truck was like, and it was the very highway that my husband died on. That guy who owns that company was supposed to be with my husband, and he never forgave himself for not being with him. He said, "Oh, if I went with Steve that night, he would still be alive." And so on. So it was like awe-inspiring. I felt like the angels were singing, and you name it. It was like it
So you
was.
felt guarded and taken care of that night by just
It was.
saying a name.
Yeah, and because I was falling asleep and it aided me, it kept me awake, the bright lights of this tractor trailer behind me. And it's sort of like, and I said to myself immediately, I said, I am never doubting again. I looked up, I looked around, and I said, thank you, a million thanks. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, universe, God. And it was so profound. It was like everything is connected. Everything. And I am a steeped believer in it. So yeah. So that's what came. That was one thing that came to me that was just outstanding.
And how does those emotions, that moment make you feel today?
Oh, it's still with me.
So
It
it's still
doesn't
an
leave.
amazing moment for you.
It really is. I can feel it, and I could drop to my knees and say, "Thank you, God." You know, I could just, "Wah!" I'm gonna sprout wings and fly. You know,
Exactly. I need to learn
yeah.
how to squeal like that. That would probably make me feel really good. I'm not a much of a like, woo, like I go, woohoo, that's about my little thing. I'm just like,
Oh no, oh no. That I was being mild there.
I heard somebody else do it the other day, and I was like, oh, just made my soul just feel good. You need to do it again. And they were looking at me. I was like,
I
oh,
know.
I can't
Like,
do it. I can't. It doesn't
"Woo!
work.
Woo, 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 woo!"
See, and that's what I need to learn how to do. Embrace that part of me. Oh my. I'm so
Yeah, it just is. Oh, it's so awesome. It's like, oh, you know what it really is? It is the ultimate of not being alone.
yes. Oh,
It's truly that.
that's what we
Truly,
all
truly.
need to get to is that ultimate not feeling alone. That is one
Hmm.
of all of our biggest struggles. We all feel like we are by ourselves. That is huge. It just like literally cracked open something inside of me. That is going to become something. You just opened up a door inside that said, "Oh, go take care of that, Darla." Well,
Go take care of that girl. I know. See, I mean, oh my God, it's so wonderful that it's January 24th, 1923.
exactly.
Yeah. Mm.
Now, Kat, I want you to think about the most amazing thing that's ever happened to you or that you've done for someone else.
One,
And
two,
what does that look like to you? While I glitch out over here.
I was ready for this now. Um, I am like Jane. Like I feel like I receive all the time, and I feel like I give all the time. And so the thing that happened to me recently, it was my birthday on January 2nd, and my friend had who's my best friend here, and or what I should say one of them. I have like two really good friends, but she's so magical. Like this person is just a magical person. Like she brings color into a gray, black and white world.
Hmm.
And for my birthday, she took me like I'm a simple person, right? For me, like what makes me feel love is just it could be your attention. It could be whatever it is. Like I'm so just grateful for anything that I receive. Like I really feel like I try to be really open to receive. And but I don't always recognize it, right? Like I don't always recognize when I'm in resistance to receive. Um but she took me to the thrift store for my birthday and was like, go all out. You're gonna have a shopping spree. And I got this little teapot set. Like there were things that that I always want. Like I don't need them, but I just want them because they're cute or whatever. But it's not something that I have to have but what you said about everything being connected, right? Because when you think about the things like, you just put it out there into the world, like I want this, right? Or I want that. And then it just makes its way to you. And so it was just this cute little teapot. Like it's simple, it's nothing. But to me, it was just like I always wanted a little teapot. Don't ask me why. If it's like a little girl thing. Like I don't know. I like little teapot. I don't want to collect a bunch of them, but there's just something nostalgic to me about a teapot. And so I found this really cute teapot with these, and it had like a bee. It looks like a beehive, and it's got like a little bee on the top of it. And I'm just like, I love it because I love bees. And then I've been wanting a juicer for like the last year. I've been wanting a juicer, and they had like 3 of them that day at the thing. And I'm very like, I mean, if you see me I've never been the kind of girl that's like materialistic, right? I'm not a flashy girl. I mean, if you are, like, there's no judgment, but I'm not the kind of girl that's like, oh, makeup, clothes, like I don't care about any of that stuff. And I never have. I wish I was a fashionista. Like there's some cute people in this world, but it's just not the end all be all for me, and it never has. And so my friend's like trying to get me to buy clothes. And I'm like, look at this teapot, you know? But the whole day was just like it was creative. That she even wanted to do that for me. And it was a great day that I got to spend with her. And, our babies ran around under the clothes racks and were those kids, and I love that with her. Like, she's my mom friend, and our kids are, a week or two apart from each other. And, she gives me that break, that when life's just stressful as a mom, like all the little things that come with being a mom, and she's like that breath of fresh air and truly, like, I hope, that I bring that same, level to the table of her life. But, she's like a mental break for me when, my kids just up to here with me, and you know what I mean? And so for me, like, I really received that, I really received that. And I look at everybody that way. Like, when you come to the table of my life, like, are you bringing good things that hold value and water? I mean, worth, or are you gonna, leave me worse than what you found me? And so I kind of have this, mentality that, like, the only thing I can control is myself. And I can't control how other people are going to love me or what they're going to bring to the table of my life. But the only person I'm accountable is to myself, and I say who sits at the table of my life. And I say how you must conduct yourself when you sit at the table of my life. And so, what really kind of has resonated in the last year is, like, I've never been mad at anybody for, for the hurt. I've been mad at people because I allowed them to hurt me. I allowed them to make me feel less than what I am, and when I realized that, it just I was able to take back my power and take back my sovereignty over my own life, because I'm going to come with the best of intention to the table of your life, and I'm going to bring my A game, and I'm going to try to pour into you all the goodness that is in me, in hopes that I will fill you up with that goodness. And that's just really, like, my mentality. So
Can I tell you something? Don't have expectations when you're pouring.
yeah,
Pour the love and let it go wherever it's going to go, because it's just a seed.
yeah,
The
absolutely.
people in your life around you may or may not choose to grow. That's
Right,
their choice. But all you can do is, from a heart space, continue to give the love that you have. And those who will receive it will receive it. Those who
right,
will grow from it will grow from it. Those who don't need it will leave it and walk away. And it's
right,
okay. Everyone's allowed, just as you are, to come to that table, to come in from their own, for whatever it might be. Be
right.
ready to receive those who want to join you for a life, but also receive those that are there for a lesson or just a season.
I think that's the point, is that everybody, even when you're with the season, like, they bring something to you, and it's just up to you to be accountable to the
I didn't
things.
hear that.
It's not me. Maybe it's Jane. I don't know. I don't know if
No,
that's
it's
scraping.
just I just couldn't hear. It was me.
I was hearing like a scraping. Well, I was just saying, I think that's the point, is that when everybody has something to bring. It's just up to you to see, like, what is, because everything that's coming, there's a scripture, right? I've called you by name and you are mine. So I think, everything that's coming across your path, you've called it onto your path. And if that's the case, then, the responsibility and accountability falls with you to see, like, what you want to learn from the person that's on your path. It's always there's always a lesson for yourself, for that person. And no matter what, like, you're planting a seed, and hopefully it's always a seed of love, and it's going to grow no matter what, like, whether it's tomorrow or 10 years down the road. Like, I am the only person that can control the love that I choose to become and be. And I
And
just need
share
right.
as well as sharing. And I think that that's beautiful. I love where the conversation went today. I mean, it really opened up to a lot of different areas. I mean, here you were with your birthday experience and having a fantastic time. Jane remembering a moment after something was so hard for her to process, but feeling so comforted just through a name. Just from that name, it literally brought that energy and that life she needed so much right back around her. You know, it's beautiful how things come together. For myself, when it comes down to the most amazing thing that's ever happened to me, the day I realized I could change my life. I didn't realize it at the time, how important that day was. From my story, from where I've come from to where I'm going, I know that that was the moment that was the most amazing moment for me because most people statistically fall into the statistics, and I chose to rise above them. I made a decision and I pressed through it as hard as that decision was, and I found the answers for me. And my job is to help you find yours. So that is the end of class today. Thank you so much. Does anyone have any comments, questions, or anything else in the last few minutes? Go ahead, Kat.
Woo!
Everyone's going to teach me how to do this, huh?
Let it go. Let it go. Just let it out.
Just let it out. Woo! There we go. That's
It's down in your belly, girl.
woo! No, it makes me uncomfortable. It does. It does. It makes me uncomfortable. Why is that? I need this. I obviously need this. Just as much as you guys need me, I need this. Jane, you're muted, honey. She's so animated too. I can hear her without her words.
I know. You need to be seen. You need to be heard. You need to go for it.
And I'm all nervous and not doing it because I know in the other room they're on a class and they've been doing breath work and I can hear them, but I'm over here going, "Oh, Darla, you got to be quiet."
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I
But
gotcha.
I don't. And that's what the problem is. Why am I holding myself back? That is actually, here we are. Look at me, you guys, these two right here, right now. Whoever watches this video, you guys, literally, here I am, the coach of the coaches, and everyone's in here coaching me right now.
Go for it. Just let it go. Let it go.
Why is it so uncomfortable?
No. Go.
Woo!
Yes.
Go
Yes.
outside and practice this.
You should.
Inside job. I have to go outside.
Do it in the car. Then you just look like a crazy person driving down the road. But just like when you're driving, just let it come way down from the bottom.
Oh, like if I'm belting out my song. Okay.
Yes.
I used to do that. I would scream though, but it was more out of frustration.
Woo! Yeah, it's definitely going to take a work to get that out of me.
But
Which-
you know,
Practice it. So next week, tune in because you guys are going to want to hear me make sure that I can do this. So I'm going to be practicing all week. And next week, I'm going to just be like, woo, welcome to the Art of Learning Self-Love. And I'm going to have it where it's actually full and all of my power and bringing it to you.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So stay tuned and come and check it out. Make sure I get on point and do what I need to do too. Love and light, everyone. Oh my, we hit the end.